WLOX presents the Friday Night Football Showdown Halftime Update.
Proudly sponsored by Champion Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Oak Trust Insurance Group.
And hello everybody, welcome in. It is another night of high school football action right here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Hello everybody, thanks for joining. My name is Dylan Jones, and guys, if I had $1 for every point that I have watched be scored tonight, I would have, I don't even know how many dollars. I'd have a lot of dollars. I would have so many dollars. And you can check out how many points have been scored if you head on over to our website at WLOX.com. Make sure to check out our scoreboard. You can also check it out on our mobile app as well. All you got to do is make sure to hit that hamburger menu, find the sports section, and navigate your way to the scoreboard section. This is both on our website and on our mobile app. Okay, but before we get into any of that, what we want to do real quick is we want to give you a rundown of what are we looking at so far this week, okay? Top 10 in Week 7. D'Iberville sitting at that top spot, still undefeated. They are playing Ocean Springs tonight, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Ocean Springs falling out of that top spot after losing to Gulfport last week. We also have Picayune and West Harrison rounding out that top 5. If you are a Poplarville fan or a Biloxi fan, good news, you get to stay at the house, okay? You're not playing tonight. Get to rest up. I believe both teams lost last week as well, so looking to bounce back after those losses. Looking at our picks from last week, we had a few shakeups there. St. Martin Biloxi could have gone either way. Shout out to sports guy Matt DiGregorio. Only one to pick Gulfport over Ocean Springs. A big upset win for Gulfport. Really sets them up in a nice spot to be able to take district if they're able to follow through. Also looking at this last page, we had a few people pick Resurrection, St. Patrick, and CCA. Other than that, as of right now, our standings stay at Matt in that number 1 spot. Yours truly in that number 2 spot. It's okay, though. We're going to get there. Looking at this week's game of the week, Ocean Springs heads out to D'Iberville. Our very own Tyler Bell gives us a preview.
The Greyhounds of Ocean Springs are taking the short trip to D'Iberville to take on the Warriors. D'Iberville is buzzing after a solid win against West Harrison, handing the Canes their first loss and becoming the last undefeated team in the area. The Warriors defense put on a masterclass, holding the juggernaut West Harrison offense to just 7 points.
Our defense, really set the tone early. Offensively, we were very physical as well, and we just wore them down, playing team football.
Their defensive front is very good. They got, 6 or 7 guys they roll in on the defensive line, a great core of linebackers who has been very good for the last 2 years, and then their defensive backfield is better than it has been in the past, so they've really completely put together a defense.
Last week, the Greyhounds dropped their first district loss in the last 5 years in heartbreaking fashion. The offense could not make up for the 40 points let up by the defense. They're looking to bounce back in a major way.
The bounce back, that's the biggest thing is handling below average performance and bouncing back with a great performance the next week and learning how to handle losses and learning from them and then get back in stride.
We're going to get their best shot, and so we have to make sure that we're taking care of things on our end, that we make sure that they get our best shot, and at the end of the day, we believe in ourselves and we believe that we'll take care of business, but we got to make sure that we're ready for that and ready to go 1-0 again.
Who will overcome? The lockdown Warriors defense or the score-at-will Greyhounds? It's our WLOX Game of the Week, and the stakes are higher than ever.
And we're going to bring you that score here in just a sec. But first, what we want to do is we want to head back to last night. West Harrison on the road against Harrison Central. The Hurricanes ranked number 5 as of right now, taking that 18-0 victory. Our very own Matt DiGregorio tells us how we got there.
Week 7 of the high school football season kicked off on Thursday night. A battle of 2 Harrison County sides squaring up in their first ever matchup as 7A district opponents. Number 5 West Harrison suffered its first loss last week, looking to get back on track with a road clash against Harrison Central. Scoreless game in the second quarter. Harrison Central's field goal goes wide right, and the game stays tied late into the first half. Just over 2 minutes to play in the frame. Sean Fairley drags a defender into the end zone. Extra point was no good. Hurricanes take a 6-0 lead into the break. Into the second half we go. Fairley gets the carry once again, breaks through, he gone, goes the distance for 6, two-point conversion attempt would come up short. Canes double their lead to 12, and they would add one final score in the fourth as 5th-ranked West Harrison gets back in the win column with an 18-0 victory over Harrison Central.
So West Harrison still just one loss on the year. You see that final score 18-0. Also going back to our game of the week at halftime, the Greyhounds up 28-14 against the Iberville. Back at the top, you remember when I told you that there are a lot of points? Yeah. Checking into Pascagoula, both the Panthers and the number 3 Picayune Maroon Tide are fresh off a bye week this week. The Tide sport just one loss to number 2 Ocean Springs, whereas the Panthers are on a 4-game skid, all of their losses coming against 7A teams. So you can't count them out, and you see exactly why right here. 35-34, when we last checked, there were 14 seconds left in that first half. However, with how things have been going, I would not be surprised if 50 more points have been scored. But right now, 35-34, our update, Picayune in the lead. On the other side of the coast, a similar scenario. The Hancock Hawks earned their first win of the season last week against Bay. Now they look to fend off number 9 PRC to begin district play. The Hawks have won in a 35-0 shutout against the Blue Devils last year. And right now, Hancock 20-7, nice lead over a top 10 team. We'll see if they can hold that lead going into the second half. Before their bye week last week, the Gaucher Gators suffered an upset loss at the hands of number 10 Greene County. Now they jump into district play against the 1-win Long Beach Bearcats, who were looking for their first district win since 2018. 7-0, the Gators up over the Bearcats at halftime. As for the George County Rebels, they've entered the bye week hot, winning back-to-back contests against Stone and Wayne County. Now they clash with the West Jones Mustangs, a rematch of last year's round 1 game in which the Rebels took a 26-22 victory. However, it seems that the script has somewhat flipped here. Second quarter, our last update has the Stangs up 20-0. George County looking to flip things over here, get back on their saddle in the second half. Like George County, the Van Cleve Bulldogs also picked up 2 wins before entering their bye week. They host the Northeast Jones Tigers, who have won their last 3. At halftime, Cal Capers and the Bulldogs up by just a touchdown. Some may describe the East Central Hornets season thus far as unlucky, as they've fallen to 1-4 after losing an overtime contest to begin the season, and they fell by just 2 points to Pass Christian before the bye week. However, it's a new season now as the Hornets begin district play against the Purvis Tornadoes, who are 1-1 against coast teams so far this season. At halftime, 7-7 all. Last week, the Stone Tomcats secured their second win of the season with a blowout victory over St. Stanislaus. They faced the winless Wayne County War Eagles, who are in the midst of their worst start to a season in program history. That's going back all the way to the 80s. At halftime, Stone leads it 16-7. While their season certainly isn't over, the Greene County Wildcats' loss to Pass Christian last week certainly complicates their path to becoming repeat district champs. They take a break from district play this week and instead host the Presbyterian Bobcats, who are 3-0 against coast teams this year. One of those teams actually being the Pass Christian Pirates, who defeated Greene County just last week. Our last update, second quarter, Presbyterian up 28-21 over the Wildcats. Speaking of Pass Christian, the Pirates are riding hot after winning their last 3. They see the FCHS Aggies this week, and a win would drastically heighten their Pirates' chances of securing their first ever district title. At halftime, Pass Christian going at it. 24-0, big lead there heading into that second half. Last week, the Moss Point Tigers had a tough time, to say the least, okay? Despite playing through 5 overtimes, 5 overtimes, they failed to score entirely against the Aggies. They hope to gain momentum tonight against the Bay Tigers, who are one of 2 coast teams without a win so far this season. Our last update, second quarter, Bay up by just a score. Looking at halftime coming up here soon. So, real quick, before we get into some of these, as you'll see, some of these are not updated. If you have a score, feel free to leave a comment down below, and we'll make sure to get those updated as quickly as possible. But it's been a while since the St. Patrick Fighting Irish have won a district game, 11 years to be exact. Tonight, they hit the road and visit the West Marion Badgers, who sport a nice 4-2 record so far and open district with a win last week against the Tylertown Chiefs. Right now, West Marion in the driver's seat. Our last update has them up 14-0 in the first quarter. Also, speaking of Tylertown, meanwhile, the St. Stanislaus Rocketchaws are taking a crack at the Chiefs. The Rocks have dropped 4 straight and sit at 1-5, their worst start since a winless 2012 season. Tylertown looking to keep that trend going for the Rocks. They lead 20-0 at halftime. 2012 also marks the last year that the Resurrection Eagles had to start this bad. They sit at 1-5, and their lone win comes against CCA. They hope to change the tide tonight against the Taylorsville Tartars, who opened district with a win last week against Stringer. That's one of those games we don't have an update for yet. Once we do get that update, we'll make sure to get that in. The number 4 Gulfport Admiral shocked many last week with an upset win over Ocean Springs, and now they host the one-loss number 6 St. Martin Yellow Jackets, who hope to find their first district win since 2021. At halftime, Gulfport leads it 13-0. Wrapping things up now, we take a look at the Christian Collegiate Academy Bulldogs as they continue their trek for the team's first ever 11-man win. They host the 0-6 Bowling Green Buccaneers out of Franklinton, Louisiana to begin district. Also one of those games we don't have a score for just yet. Once we do get that update, we'll make sure to get that on our website. But just real quick, for anyone who is looking to see how in the world, Dylan, how in the world do we get to this scoreboard? What you're going to do is you're going to head to our website, and it looks a little bit like this on our mobile app as well. All you're going to have to do on the app is you're just going to have to click the hamburger menu, and it should say scoreboard somewhere in there. But for our website, you're going to click this arrow by sports, and you're going to find the scoreboard. Hit that, and you can also check out our JUCO scores as well. PRCC falling to Colin last night, and Perk able to come out with a win over East Central, but we don't want to look at that right now, okay? We're looking at high school football. So what we're going to do is we're going to change that to high school football, and you'll be able to get all of those latest scores. Also, make sure to check us out on WLOX, ABC, and CBS later tonight to get all the final scores and highlights here tonight. So thanks so much for joining me. Can't wait to see you at 10:15 tonight for all of those final scores. I'm Dylan Jones. Thanks for joining me.